lending strategies changed due to the pandemic? And I'll just open that up. Perhaps we can start with Robert from Wells Fargo.
Yeah, thanks, Rolly. And first, I want to thank Jim for inviting me to participate in the webinar. I appreciate the opportunity. This is an important topic that we're all navigating through. You know, I think you look at the number of participants on the call today, and I think everyone's very interested in on how everyone is managing during this unique time. So really to answer your question, from our perspective, we really haven't changed our lending practices. We're still really focused on three main areas. One is, you know, really kind of focused on our clients' credit strengths and what their financial needs are for supporting aircraft financing. Also, we're asking more questions around the pandemic. How are they handling the pandemic? How has it affected their business? And, you know, what is their outlook for the remainder of this year, and what is their outlook for next year? These are conversations that we never had to have before, and they're important conversations today, and they're really just part of now the underwriting and inquiry process around having these conversations with our clients. And then thirdly, you know, our mission, and I think most everybody understands, is that, you know, we're here to service our existing clients. That has not changed. We understand our clients very well, what their needs are, and it's been very successful for us. And so we continue to want to just monitor and service our existing clients. Now, we are a domestic player. Wells Fargo is an international company, but for the corporate aircraft segment, we only focus on our U.S. clients. And that's been successful for us. And we'll talk a little bit about our portfolios in a minute, but I can't give you an international feel. That's what Gary's here for. So I'm going to have Gary kind of respond from his perspective. He's in the UK and he has more of the international take.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Robert. Yeah, I mean, basically, I think the name of the game that's been outside the US has been one of pragmatism. All the lenders that I deal with on a regular basis, the overall objective has been everyone wants to avoid a flood of aircraft coming onto the market. And, you know, to your point, Rolly, we haven't really seen that, which is good. So, I mean, just looking back over how this has played out in the short term, you know, many lenders would started with the approach of protecting the portfolio. So focusing on existing customers' needs. You know, there are some lenders who are pulling human resources from the origination team onto the portfolio management team, just everyone hunkering down, waiting for a flood of deferrals. And that doesn't seem to have happened, at least not with the lenders that I've spoken with. You know, also, you know, there's been a lot of government-backed support schemes in different countries around the world, and lots of aircraft lenders have actually been participating in them. These schemes, you know, they enable asset-backed lending, mostly on the smaller end of the jet and turboprop market, and, you know, to be extended to domestic businesses. So, for example, here in the UK, the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme has been, you know, quite active with some of the lenders here. There are parallel schemes, I know, in Canada, Germany, Australia, other places where the aviation financing community is large and active. But, you know, I mean, in terms of how lenders are looking at it, they tend to, I think, mirror what Robert was saying. You know, basically, the same type of questions are being asked around the credit strength, the ability to service the loan. What's the impact of COVID on the obligor's ability to service the loans? Some funders I speak with regularly, they've actually determined that certain sectors of the economy or certain geographic areas are too fragile or uncertain to lend into. So things like hospitality, oil and gas, retail are some areas that have come under a lot of strain and our areas of focus. Other funders, they've become more conservative in terms of their LTVs or the guarantee requirements they put in place. They'll price a higher element of risk in terms of their margins, or even restricting the age of the aircraft that they're looking at, you know, to try and tighten the risk profile, basically. On the other hand, the other thing I'm seeing is that as some lenders have retrenched from certain markets, and I'm thinking in particular a few in Europe, for example, others have actually kind of expanded into the space. And that's not just a European thing, but I'm also seeing it in emerging markets in Asia, sub-Saharan Africa as well. I mean, I guess it all comes down to individual circumstances of each transaction, but certainly from an international perspective outside the US, aviation finance is very, very much alive and kicking around the world.
And to add on from an owner flown perspective, I mean, the biggest challenge I think we're facing right now is the concept of trying to use pre-COVID financials to underwrite in a COVID environment, right? Everything we look at was pre-COVID experience. So we have to look at how to make a lending decision in that environment. And in that case, what you do is you look back to the old-fashioned 5 C's of credit, study each component of the lending decision, see what the COVID impacts are for that, and then work to make sure you have a situation that benefits both the customer and the bank from there in the lending decision. I do admit, though, the credit that comes in with high liquidity and low leverage is definitely preferred.